To SPEARATICS by Sideline Sports. We got a huge show tonight. First off, we've got an announcement about SPEARATICS in conjoining with another group. We've also got the obvious rival week, Florida State versus UF at Doak Campbell Stadium, the Sunshine Showdown, as most call it. Remember, this episode is brought to you by Game Day Vodka. As long as you're 21 years of age or older, you can go to their website and order what they have for sale, which they are the official vodka for 9 NFL teams and eight collegiate teams. Florida State being one of them, so they're the official vodka for Florida State. Their vodka is extremely smooth because of the way it's distilled. It's CO2 and it's distilled 6 times over. It is made and distilled in America. It's also It's bottled in America and sold in America. So if you haven't tried Game Day Vodka, please go get you some because it is very good. Tonight we will have Big Game James on, who will go over the Florida game with us. Chip may be joining us later, and we have a special guest backstage as well. That is in parts with the announcement that's going to be made tonight. I want to bring James on here in just a minute. But obviously, it's rival week. Obviously, Friday night is Black Friday. It is going to be a huge event. Everyone is going to be absolutely ecstatic to be at Doak Campbell. This will be one of those games that Doak Campbell will absolutely be rocking. It will absolutely be one of the greatest atmospheres that you've ever been in. If you're not going to be able to be at the game in person, obviously you'll be watching on TV and you will be able to hear all of us fans that are in there making all the possible noise that we can. I do expect that Florida will travel decent for this, so I do expect that there will be some Florida fans in the stands, but I expect us to be at least 70-30 in that range, if not more. And then we'll also talk about bowl projections in this show as well. So I'm going to bring James on first. James, we've got a big announcement here in a minute, but how excited are you for the tailgate that we're fixing to have before the UF game?
I'm like right now, I'm excited to get it over with. This is the planning part, it's the crunch time. People's numbers are coming in, trying to anticipate how many people you're going to have to provide stuff for, because sometimes some people are very hard to please. It's at the last minute, they wonder why they're accounted for. But at the same time, it's just wanted it to be top notch. Some of these people, it's going to be their first time ever going to Doak and experiencing Doak. I like to be part of Doak memorable experiences. So I want them to start off with a really, really good day. And then I want them to end it with a victory against a hated rival. So those are always fun. But, yeah, I'm excited to have Game Day Vodka on there. I'm talking to ABC every day, trying to make sure we get all of the stuff that's taken care of. And shout out to the guys with the Roll Up Network for partnering with it and trying to help, as well as you, Chris, trying to help push this thing through to make it be what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that you're doing, I will always do my best to be a part of. Just like you're part of SPEARATICS, I will make sure that I do anything and everything to make any of those roads that we are going to have to travel together as smooth as possible. We're going to move on to the announcement. Everybody, this is a huge deal for multiple sports at Florida State, but it's really a huge deal for the softball team. I would say in the majority, because what we're going to announce really helps what the softball team is doing and what the softball team stands for. So I'm going to add the gentleman that will be basically over this portion of it. Hunter, welcome.
Yeah, hey Chris, hey James. It's great to see you guys. Great to be on, and excited about the announcement. New beginnings for sure.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, what the announcement is Hunter is going to be, and he already has started the group page for it on Facebook, I know for sure, is called Renegade Sports Report, and it's by SPEARATICS, which just means that I am backing him on what he's doing. That means I'm supporting what he is doing. I have no ownership in that or nothing to that nature. That's not what this is about. What this is about is opening the eyes and getting the fan base of SPEARATICS quickly to him without him having to build it from ground zero, which he's still been doing before we made the announcement. But what is going on with this is Hunter is starting the Renegade Sports Report, and I would say the first sport that he's going to be covering this season is going to be softball. Everybody notices that football gets covered, basketball decently gets covered, baseball a little bit less than both, softball absolutely less than all combined. And we think that the girls, the revenue that they bring to the school, how well they play, and what great athletes they are, that they deserve the correct amount of coverage. Hunter, if you want, kind of give people an idea of what you're visioning with this and what you're wanting to do.
Yeah, it's just like what you said, is bringing light to a topic that's not well covered. If you look at college softball, it really gets covered when the Women's College World Series goes on. Short of that, you don't hear a lot about it. It's not broadcast on real big major networks until the postseason, essentially. We're on ACC Network Extra, places like that. But, these players, they put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and they're outstanding athletes, So they definitely need to have that light brought to what they're doing, because you look just a few years ago, we won a national championship. Year before last, we were runners up. So we have the talent in Tallahassee, and it just needs to be showcased. When you go to the softball stadium, most times it's full. People are on the berm, and people are parking on top of the parking garage, where the tailgate goes on, lot 19. People are parking up there, and they're watching the game. So there's definitely a following for it. And I just want to be able to get the team the recognition they deserve and get the word out about what they're doing.
Right. And what we're going to be doing at Renegade Sports Report is we'll have some of the athletes come on for interviews before or after games, and we'll also have some of the coaches and coaching assistants come on before and after the games as well. Hunter's already started creating a relationship with multiple of the athletes as far as the softball girls go. I think he got to meet Coach Lonnie.
Yeah, I was on a whim. We were traveling to Miami for the Miami game, and we ran into her in the airport and talked to her for just a minute.
So he's very passionate about all Florida State sports, like we all are. But he's extremely passionate about the softball team. I don't know if he goes around bragging about this, but he knows a lot more about softball than he does football, is what he's told me. So I took his word for it, and then I heard him talk about softball, and I'll go ahead and second that. He knows more about softball, but I don't know what he don't know about football yet. So I will say that he knows plenty about softball. What we look forward to is, and I spoke to Michaela earlier tonight and also Mac, and told them what was coming, so that they had a heads up.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them that you had talked to them before, and they remembered the conversation, which was really cool. They told me that anytime we were ready for them to come on, to let them know, and they would absolutely be ready to. So moving forward, everybody knows when softball season starts. They just ended fall ball, and they did really well from what I understand. I don't really think that they wanted it to end. I think they were ready for the season to go ahead and start, from what they were telling me. So you got to go sit and watch some of the fall ball games, Hunter. What did you see from some of the, not just transfers, but new girls that came in? Did you see anything different or new that we should be excited for?
Yeah, there's some questions, if you will, about two big things, and that's number one, pitching, and number two, third base, of course. When you lose someone like Sydney Sherrill and Danielle Watson, that's big pieces to replace. And you spoke about the newer girls coming in, but we have a transfer, Allie Dubois. She stood out last year. She's a really good pitcher. Allison Royalty, she's coming in. We have some fresh faces in that rotation too that people should really be excited about. third base is going to be one of those places where it may take a minute to find exactly who, and I'm sure they've already found who they want through fall ball. But if you look at how Coach Alameda develops the players, Sydney Sherrill was not on third base her whole career at Florida State. She was moved there. So I'm excited to see who's going to take that over, who's going to be in the circle. And then one thing I noticed is the bats were hot when I was there. One game, I want to say we scored like 28 runs. So, I mean, it's something to look forward to. I know that the way the season ended last year was disappointing, to get knocked down on your home turf, but you got to put that in the rearview mirror and just move on. So we got a lot of new talent coming in, and some new talent we just signed within the last couple of weeks that we'll dive into more in the podcast when we get that started for sure.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, that is the announcement that I wanted everybody to know. So make sure you go follow or find the group page. You can follow Hunter on Twitter, or I don't know if you have Instagram, but you can tell them where they can follow you on Twitter, and then also on Facebook. Go look up the group page, Renegade Sports Report, and tell them where they can follow you out on Twitter. And then what I'm going to do after that is just get a short, version of what you see coming in this football game and give us a score prediction if you can.
Yeah, so, obviously on Facebook, it's Renegade Sport Report. And on Twitter, I believe it's Renegade Sports. I'll make sure and get that information to you as well. But yeah, the Facebook group is there. It's growing. Look forward to you guys joining that and pushing out content on the softball team.
So as far as this, you'll obviously be at the Florida State game. And everybody, I've seen a couple of people put their score predictions up here already. So what are your thoughts on the score prediction for this game?
So Florida, team that even though their record doesn't reflect exactly what's going on, they're a good football club. I mean, they are. And any time that they come to Tallahassee or we go to Gainesville, it's a dogfight. Essentially, what I'm seeing with Florida is especially in the quarterback position, is like a more high-powered Garrett Schrader at Syracuse. Especially being mobile like he is. So as long as you can essentially account for his legs, you got a good chance at doing what you need to do on defense. But he will kill you with his legs. We watched it last year in Gainesville, and he has a cannon too, so you got to respect that at the same time. So it's going to be, in my mind, closer than what people think. I want to say Noles by 100, but I can't say that. So for me, I want to say somewhere in the area. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be sort of a high-scoring ball game. Honestly, I do. Not in the sense that it's going to be 64-56, but I want to say somewhere around 41-28. That's where I'd like to be at. It just depends on how our defense holds up to the run with their quarterback for sure. So,
well, everybody, you heard what Hunter's prediction was for the game. You've got to hear the news about Renegade Sports Report. We appreciate Hunter coming on and sharing that information. Hunter, we'll definitely be in touch and have you on again soon, especially once you get your first podcast out and you start pushing content the way that you want to. We'll continue to release that on SPEARATICS as much as possible. I appreciate you coming on, and we're going to move forward with the show. See you later, buddy.
Go Noles.
Well, I'm not going to give you a score prediction that quickly. I just wanted to let Hunter do so he could essentially fall off. This was done a little bit at the last minute because I had forgotten about it, not because he did. I've had so much stuff going on with being a guest on – I was a guest on 3 different shows as of yesterday, and then it was so bad that yesterday we weren't able to do our show last night because of the show that we were on last night. So I pushed that to tonight and tomorrow night, and usually it's on Thursday night because of this Thursday being Thanksgiving. We're not having it on Thursday night, so we're doing it back to back, which is tonight and tomorrow night at 7:30. So I do appreciate everybody that's on here right now because I thought that I might get a decent fall because we're going off schedule, but everybody's here. So I really appreciate the support and that everybody's on here. We talked about this a little bit on the Stadium and Gale show, which is y'all go check out that episode. It's all over Twitter. We've reposted it on Facebook, etc. But go check out that show. They had us on. It was actually a really good time. I didn't know how that was going to go. I didn't even know what show that I was going on at first. But it actually ended up going pretty well. Everybody stayed respectful. That's hard to do when it's Florida fans and Florida State fans, but we all try to be professional at what we're doing. So go check that out. But I couldn't talk the smack that I wanted to talk on that show because it would have been disrespectful. But as long as you take Anthony Richardson out of this game, Florida State should roll this game. It shouldn't be within question. They are banged up left and right on defense. They are banged up at wide receiver. One of their best defensive players is going to be out the entire first half. So that's great within itself for us. I did not give a modest score prediction over there, though. That's the one that I'm sticking with. And the reason I say that's because I don't know how many times Kalen DeLoach is going to be able to take Anthony Richardson down multiple times. And if Jared Verse is the one that's doing it, that is a big man that is running against you. It's like getting beat up by Trey Benson. He will eventually start making you feel it. Well, we do have to get everybody involved on making sure that Anthony Richardson does not continue to run the ball against us. We are going to have to contain him. And I can tell you two people that can definitely take him running up against him. And that's why I say you got to force him to run up the middle. And that's Coop and Fabian Lovett. They'll take it all night long. Keep trying to run up the middle on him or on us. James, what are your thoughts as far as what Florida State's offense has to do against the Gators' defense as far as we know their scheme, we know where they're struggling. They don't cover the run very well at all. So is that what we have to do is just establish the run quick and basically, what we've been doing, kind of vanilla, running the counters multiple times. Does that work against this Florida defense?
Yeah. And again, when I made this comment a few weeks ago, and I get it, there's team chemistry and got to build for the future. But when they got rid of Cox, I was just like, whew, thank God. Because there were times because Dexter and Cox were literally lined up on the same side. And there were times when they were unblockable with the SEC line. And I'm just like, man. And that was when we were going through our 3-game stretch anyway. And I was just like, yeah, I don't really know what's going to go, how that's going to look. But Gervin Dexter is still very dominant when he chooses to be. But he's also hurt. He's banged up. So you really don't know. And this is a game where, regardless of the record, we know he's, big man, little heart. And that's great. Phenomenal. Hell, nobody likes serving the community more than me. But at the end of the day, I was a mean SOB on the football field too. So I need him to be that mean SOB, and that's Dylan Gibbons on the football field. But I think that's really where it dictates because their linebacker play is lacking, and it could be because of injury. And I believe that they're very weak at safety, and I think that's where you challenge them. You've got to account for Johnny Wilson just because of the body type that he is, and you've got to account for Jordan Travis's ability to throw the deep ball. It's so funny how everybody's completely changed, but I'm not going to lie. I can't say that I was always on the Jordan Travis bandwagon. I remember being on the beach of the Dominican Republic before Taggart's last season, and I have a friend, Brandon, Bearded Legacy on Twitter. A lot of people have gotten arguments with him about Jordan Travis. As a matter of fact, this lets you know that there is no favoritism in fifth quarter. He's my friend and got kicked out numerous times, and there was nothing I could do for him because he kept making the same mistake over and over again. But he told me Jordan Travis is that guy, and then I became a fan, and then Kenny Dillingham cemented it. And the fact that people said he can't throw, well, he's throwing the hell out of the ball to the tune that he is the the highest graded passer in the month of November in all Power 5. So I think that's Jordan Travis. We just talked about Anthony Richardson. So forget about Trey Benson, great. Johnny Wilson, great. Jordan Travis has to be the guy that we know he can be. And I'll say with both quarterbacks, and I know why they're trying to do this. Anybody who knows me, and Chris has got to know me, sometimes maybe to the detriment, but not detriment, but he understands my humor and the way I talk, and especially if you listen to the Sports Den. I am not tongue-in-cheek. I don't believe in stereotypes, but I will blast them in the face of people when I think they're dumb. I know that everybody views black quarterbacks as athletic and that they can't throw. I need you to be every bit of those stereotypes right now, though. Like, because that's what's going to make the defense have to account for you. You have to be that piece, and that's what makes the RPO sexy and successful. That's what will give Florida State's defense a hard time. They brought up the running game, but people don't bring up the only times the running game has affected us is when we've had stupid athletic quarterbacks. Louisville's quarterback, LSU's quarterback. Sam Hartman's actually pretty athletic. The Russian quarterback that ended up coming in with NC State. Like, we've played some guys that can boogie a little bit. But I need Jordan Travis not to do it too, but do it enough, do it early enough to where, oh my God, if I break contain, I'm going to be, or if I'm too tight, I'm not going to be able to get to him. And then that's where Trey Benson gets busy. Trey Benson, if you start looking at him, and I got a chance to, I really saw it last Friday night at the team hotel, chopping it up with him and Rob DeLoach. He really looks like Leonard Fournette to me. And that's good and bad. His vision needs to work. He needs to work on his vision. But when you're that powerful, it doesn't matter. They call it Leonard Fournette wrong hole Lenny in Jacksonville, because hole there, hole not there. Once he commits, he's running full speed, and somebody's going to get hit. And doesn't bode well for a long NFL career, but it bodes well for success at times. So I think if Jordan's able to keep that defensive end or keep the linebacker focused on him, and that gives him just a little bit more space to not have to be as patient. So that's what I really think the offensive game plan is dictated upon. Yes, keeping the defense honest, but Jordan Travis, I promise you, I kid you not, I think Devon is going to be there, his brother. I kid you not. Like, you come hang out with me, you'll hear the same James Coleman, no matter who. I talked to our team chaplain, Clint Purvis, the same way, love him to death. I talk the same way to if Jesus walked in the room. I told Jordan Travis's dad, tell your son, good things happen when you pull out sometimes. And he said, and his dad laughed. I tell him the same thing, Chip. I tell him the same thing. And he said in every aspect of life. And I said, Jordan, I told him his dad is an awesome guy, but I love it. I just like these guys. I'm sorry. This is a good team.
I'm going to give everybody a few statistics. Anthony Richardson, what I meant by a big man, is 6'4", 230 plus pounds. His yards this year, he's got 2,300 passing yards, 2,351 to be exact. He's got 14 touchdowns. He's got 8 interceptions, and his QBR is a 71.7. How does that compare to Jordan Travis? Jordan Travis has 2,526 yards. He has 21 TDs, 4 interceptions, and his QBR, which he is ranked 6th in all QBR, is 85.3. Our quarterback play this season is by far better than what Florida's is. We have wide receivers. We have a decent offensive line. We've got running backs that are doing a very good job. And that's what we want to see in this game. We want to see that in this game. Now, Anthony Richardson, which I expect nothing different from a competitor, in a press conference said, when we win this one, it will definitely build momentum for us. I hope our guys take that personally. And I hope our guys inflict their will on them in every which way that they can. I want to talk a little bit about, yes, in the AP poll, we're still ranked 16. Yes, in the college football playoff ranks, we're ranked 16. We had amazing news yesterday with the new commitment from the 2023 four-star QB Brock Glenn, flipping him from Ohio State. People are sending out rumors that's because Ohio State didn't want him anymore. That's a lie. It's 100% a lie. I promise you it's a lie. Because now they've got a guy that's coming in for an official visit from Washington. And I don't mean he's from Washington. That's who he's committed to. Y'all know what Washington football does, what type of quarterbacks they have. They've had decent ones, but anyways, long story short, it's not because they didn't want Brock Glenn anymore. Hakeem Williams, after this happened, said, I'm not done yet. He's steadily recruiting for the 2023 class. He's probably recruiting for the 2024 and 25 class, but he's still recruiting hard for this class. When you bring in a 5-star wide receiver, there's guys that want to play with that. There's guys that want to be here to play right along the side of him. Same way when you have these quarterbacks come in, there are guys that want to come play with that. Offensive linemen want to come because of that quarterback or because of that wide receiver or because of that running back. I just hope everybody's done saying that this staff can't recruit quarterbacks. I hope. Obviously, this is considered the Sunshine Showdown. On Black Friday, on ABC, at 7:30, the FSU team is currently 8-3. The University of Florida Lizards are 6-5. Both are bowl eligible. This is merely we are playing for the state bragging rights. We are merely playing for the Florida State-Florida rivalry. That is what we are playing for. This game will be probably more personal than any on the schedule. Miami is a close second, maybe tied for first. But this game will mean something to all of these athletes. I expect both sides of the ball, as far as both teams, to play up for this game. They should really want to win this ball game. That's why I don't knock Anthony Richardson for saying once they win this one, it will do a lot for their momentum. I expect nothing less from a competitor. I said that earlier. Now, we will move on to this. Bowl games that were being predicted to, because everybody is asking. The Cheez-It Bowl is who CBS is saying that we are going to play in, which would be versus Texas. The Gator Bowl is who someone has projected us to go to versus South Carolina. The Duke's Mayo Bowl versus Purdue. The Holiday Bowl versus Utah. Me and James have talked about this offline. And I will let James allude to whether he wants to or not. But I don't mind going to the Cheez-It Bowl. That's in Orlando. I don't mind going to the Gator Bowl. That's in Jacksonville. The rest of them, I don't care to go to. But, James, do you have any points that we could make that makes most sense for what bowl game this team goes into?
So what's often not written about, because I think they don't really know, and is what bowls come to your games consistently, because they're previewing and scouting, and then they have to make a presentation when it comes time, and you got to fall into those slots. And so I think we have a long shot. One, I think we're going to play a bowl in Florida. So I think everybody should don't buy. Actually, not visit Jacksonville. You might want to buy a jacket, but you don't have to dress too warm. I don't want to go to Charlotte. I actually don't mind Charlotte. Charlotte gets a winter. Like, it's actually pretty chilly in December at times. But if Clemson wins out, which I believe they will, and then TCU, a couple of these teams have been begging to lose. They've been trying to lose games. So I think, and we always see, whether it be this weekend or really the championship weekend has always been crazy. Think of all the years that, like, Florida's last two national championships, they backdoored because literally everybody lost, and then they were able to play in the national championship. And I think that's going to happen. And a one-loss ACC champion in this year's climate will not be left out. If a USC loses, if Michigan and Ohio State play each other, so they'll take care of themselves. Only one of those guys is going to get in, especially if it's Michigan that loses. Michigan hasn't played a ranked team all season, so like their schedule is fugazi. But that's a pipe dream. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, I don't see them allowing the Gator Bowl to not get Florida State, and there's a few reasons why. Bowls become very political, and it's about it's a fiscal thing as much. Rankings and all that other jazz. Once you meet, it's kind of like again, they love to put look at Florida's academic resume compared to Florida State. Like, that matters in athletics. Trust me. We all shouldn't have got in college if it was based on our academic merit. If it was based on academic merit, Harvard, Yale, and all those Furman, all those schools will still be the top of the tops. But once you meet the minimum requirements, they're going to take. And Florida State will be one of the top teams in the ACC when it shakes out. It doesn't go by. It goes by wins and losses, but North Carolina. I think North Carolina State will have more losses than us. The way it shapes out, we're second in the Atlantic right now. When North Carolina loses to Clemson, we're technically number 2 in the ACC. So that gives us the automatic bid to the Orange Bowl if Clemson leaves, but it also gives us the bigger bowl game, which I think the Gator Bowl is considered. They used to call it the de facto New Year's Six Bowl, but that's a good one. It's 3:30 on December 30th. A very good time slot. And Jacksonville is going to take it because the last few Gator Bowls have been abysmal. Very poor attendance. It doesn't do anything for the city or the state's economic bottom line. So what does Florida State do? Florida State, if nothing else, will travel the day before, the day of, and they will fill the stadium. If you put them against any opponent that's got a decent fan base, so that's why you hear like Texas, South Carolina, some of these teams, they have well-known fan bases, but they're also fan bases that would travel. I wouldn't even be surprised if you don't see us get put up against a team that's a little bit further north if they have the opportunity, especially if it's the Cheez-It Bowl. I wouldn't be shocked if they try to get a Michigan. I don't know all the at-large bids, but the reason why is those northern teams come down and they stay 2 weeks. The one thing about my last college football game that is cemented in my mind is walking everywhere in Miami and seeing like a bunch of Penn State fans like they lived there. And what Joe Paterno did was actually, those guys didn't even get Christmas off. They took that bowl preparation week that you get on campus. They shipped everybody down there so they can get acclimated to the warmer climate. Even though it was cold for us, it was still hot for them. And that's what the cities are really looking for. Who's going to put heads in beds and who's going to fill the stadium? And when you look at that formula, the Gator Bowl screams way more, makes way more sense than anything else.
Absolutely. And me personally, I'm good with either or. I'm good with the Gator Bowl or the Cheez-It Bowl, like I said before. This will be our first bowl appearance with Mike Norvell. And getting those 15 extra practices with these guys means something for next year. It really does. To get to practice, 15 more full practices with these young guys that will have a significant amount of time off after this is over, regardless of who leaves for the NFL or regardless of who has to leave because of being a senior, getting these 15 extra practices, it really matters for a team like Florida State when you do have potentially 4 offensive linemen leaving.
And can I speak on that? Like, it's not just that. That is important. I can't not only can I not fathom not playing in a bowl game, I can't fathom not playing in a game that isn't a New Year's Six Bowl or like a January 1st Bowl. Like, we played in the Gator Bowl my junior year, and we beat West Virginia, but it was played on January 1st. So, like, it was still – like, it gave that same feel. But we played in the Sugar Bowl once. We played in the Orange Bowl twice. We played in there. These games are something that once you get that taste of it, you expect to have it the next year. So, like, that next year, guys are going to come in, and now what you brag to the guys who are coming in, you brag to them about, oh, you didn't get this bowl gift. Oh, you didn't get, like, we got these bold leather jackets. Oh, I got this luggage. Oh, I got this bowl ring. Oh, we got $2,500 in per diem to be able to spend food, but they covered all of our meals. Man, we got to go see this now. I won't lie. Jacksonville's a lot better now than it was then. So I'll tell the guys, and I'll tell Mike, like, if they come here, I'll make sure everybody's at least knows where they can go and be safe, and I'll come and I'll make if they want that help. I'll make sure the cigar lounge is there for the coaches. I'll make sure that, but like, Miami is a fun place when you're visiting. New Orleans, man, I had such a good time that I couldn't wait till I became a pro again. It's something that, like, I never got Christmas gifts like that growing up. So this was so imagine, like, you go from not really, having a big Christmas to you're getting $500 from the bowl game and $500 from the university in gifts. So, like, one of the things I want to do with content is big games, real stories. Like, I got a 5-disc CD changer. probably people are like, what the hell, James? That doesn't mean, like, you don't understand. 20 years ago, that was the PlayStation 5. To be able to put 5 separate CDs in and to be able to push random and they'd be able to like make you your own mix was like, and it had a tape player and it had the audio the yellow green. See, now we have the HDMI cords. Then you put these cords in so I could hook my PlayStation 2 up. And now I got a little bit almost like surround sound. But those are the cool gifts you get. And it's like for the first time in your life, you're getting rewarded for playing football. And you get to go to another city. The rooms are fly. Like, you know, you went from Motel 6 to like staying, like we stayed in the Diplomat. If you haven't been to the Diplomat West down in Miami, like you have not stayed. Like it is a real, like I remember I went my last year. I'm sorry, Chris. I get excited because I remember this stuff. Part of the reason now, if you see me with the presidential suites and you see this stuff, it's because I went to bowl games. I got spoiled. I went from not caring about a hotel to like being like, I will refuse to lay my head on some roach stuff before, like, you know, but I went down there. Me and my daughter's mother was able to, I went a few days early because that's where they're from that way. And they let me check in. And I had never seen the rooms where you can open up the window you can open up a window in the bathroom and see into the bedroom. And it was just like, I just felt like this was just some real cool pimp type stuff right here, man. So, but like, no, like that's fun. That makes playing ball different. And I'm happy for that for these boys. But I will say this game right here is them playing for per diem. You go out there and you whoop Florida's ass. Now you have a better shot of making sure, because even if you lose, even if Clemson makes it into the playoff, I don't think our record allows us to be able to get into that Orange Bowl, because I think you still got to be top 15, right, to be eligible for a New Year's Six Bowl. So we got to be unless you outright win the conference. So we got to just be mindful for those things, man. And I'm happy for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the crazy part, you know, James just like threw out our age completely. When I remember the 5 CD disc changer, and it was the PlayStation 5. Hell, I remember when I got my first iPod, and my dad looked at it and he said, "What is that?" And I said, "It's an iPod." And he was like, "Okay, what does it do?" I said, "Well, it plays music." He's like, "Well, where do you put the tape or the CD?" I said, "No, you download them digitally and you can listen to it." My dad said it was witchcraft and that I should have never bought the thing. He can't believe I spent his hard-earned money on it because I got it for Christmas one year. But that tells you our age. If y'all knew the first cell phone that we saw, it was literally a suitcase, and the phone itself was a weapon. It was a brick. So if that tells you how old we are, but what kids have nowadays versus what we had back then, it's night and day, man. Like I asked James the other day, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, we was on the phone, and he was telling me how he was going to go to the players walk, and Trey was going to get to meet some more of the players and get some autographs and stuff. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, how would I have acted as a kid if all that was happening for me? So I asked James, I said, he's loving his life, isn't he? The question is how does he not know how to love his life? One, because his life is cool, but he's never had anything less. So he's used to sitting in suites to go watch the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's used to sitting in the Champions Club or a suite to watch Florida State play. He's used to meeting players at Wilm. He's used to being able to go see the new locker rooms. That's this kid's life. And that's because Pops went and put in a bunch of work. That's because Dad went and made sure that he killed it, and he is making it better for his son. Like his son is going to have a better life than he did as a child, which is what we're supposed to do. So that's why it's really easy to back whatever James is getting into, whatever James is promoting, just like this tailgate. This tailgate is going to be huge. Like Chris Thompson, I don't even know if y'all know who, you should know who Chris Thompson is, but Chris Thompson writes, I'm going to have to pull up. Chris Thompson's a former running back at Florida State, went to the NFL, played for multiple NFL teams because he was a smaller guy. He was a little bit injury prone, but hell of an athlete. The guy was absolutely amazing when he was at his best. Those are the type of people that pull up to these tailgates. It wouldn't surprise me a bit if you had Chris Thompson, Greg Jones at some point. Like there are so many that come to these tailgates because they can trust what atmosphere they're going to walk into because there is another former athlete that is throwing this tailgate. So when you see a ticket price of $50 to come there, you're not just getting all you can eat food and all adult beverages you want. There is a realm of people. We've had Snoop Menace this year, which Snoop never got to sit down. I felt so bad for him.
Yeah, Snoop was taking pictures. Snoop, Pete, personal friends. Heck, we had if you're into black comedy, you saw Benji Brown, who's a world travel comedian on the Martin Lawrence tour. Ricky Smiley Morning Show. Chris said that I'm getting some. Timmy might be there, or maybe a couple other cats. Los, those guys are younger than me, so it's gonna be great. I'm a fan out. Like one thing I tell people, one of the coolest things about me and media, right, is that I'm from Tallahassee, from the south side of Tallahassee. Can hear the stadium, so I grew up a fan. I played, and I get to cover it. So I come from a perspective of three different that not everybody gets to have. So like I went on visits as a recruit. I played there, and then I'm covering a lot of the different aspects of the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to it. So when I get to talk to Pete, like it's a real this is a surreal moment that Peter Ward will answer the phone when I call him, or that Snoop Menace will answer the phone. My first time meeting Shade Tree, I had a poster of Marvin laying out. I believe it was the quarterback from Duke. No, it was the Miami quarterback where he knocked them. They were both parallel to the ground, and it was just one of those moments where I actually thought about it. And I was young, but I think I was crazy. I was like, man, that's a really violent sport. Am I man enough to play this? This is some savages. But to be able to have Marvin recognize me, to be able to have a lot of these guys recognize you, man. I try to tell people, I take you, and this is what my son gets to do. So when I document my son, if you got a little kid that want to know what it's like to go around, you can live life. My son is that personable. Like your kid can live his life and understand things from my son. I take everybody where I go. Like sometimes I can legitimately take you where I go. Sometimes I can't, but like those guys, I'm living that moment. So like when y'all fan out, shoot, I fan out too. Can I get an autograph? Shit, I'm about to go get one. So like don't feel bad about it, but it's a dope that tailgate's going to be a dope experience. And these tailgates, they're sponsored by Game Day Vodka. There are some costs that if I had to incur all these costs, the ticket price would be higher. For the alcohol we're providing and the food we're providing, but they help those things, but these things go to help different things that I do in the community. So we got gifts for good grades that we're going to be launching. It's going to cost about $6,000 to be able to give some of these kids Christmas. We ain't going to make that on the tailgate more than likely, but that goes to that. It goes to the book bag drives. I did a turkey drive a couple weeks ago. We just didn't promote that as much because of out of respect to the community in which we went and provided. I don't want them to feel like they got a handout. They got a hand up. When we do our book bag drive, my STEM camp, the guys with Big 3 Roll Up, I don't know if anybody saw it, but they took about 100 kids to the South Florida football game. When these kids, we took about 1,000 kids. Or let me rephrase it. We had 1,000 tickets. Some kids got multiple chances to go to Florida State games this year. That came from tailgate funds. That's why I get so passionate about when people say something didn't happen. It's not about I'll give you the money back, but it's about like, yo, you're taking away from, you didn't help me get better. Like, help me get better and don't take away from the kid. Like, just tell me what you didn't provide. And then, because especially if you didn't show up, but that's my take on that. But I'm excited. I can't wait to be around guys, eat me some bad food. And then I'm probably going to be vegan until Christmas. That's how bad I plan on eating and drinking.
Absolutely. And it's cool that James just brought up Marvin. Shade Tree is one of the most approachable people in the world. Was one of the meanest players on the field, but the nicest guy in the world when he's not playing football. I walked up to him after a game one time, and he talked to me like I was a normal human being, and he recognized me, which was really cool. His wife, Miss Norma, is all over SPEARATICS. And he noticed me because of mine and his wife's conversation about what SPEARATICS stood for. So that was really cool. But what's really cool about him bringing up Marvin is Shade Tree is going to be honored at halftime at this game.
Mm.
So Shade Tree is going to be there. So I wouldn't shake my head if Marvin showed up to the tailgate. He's got to do something before the game. So you never know. I'm definitely going to invite him to come. And also, what I've been trying to do, which I've successfully done twice, is get some of the softball players or the track stars that are current athletes at Florida State to the tailgates. That has happened twice so far, and they had a really good time. They really enjoyed showing up. They really enjoyed the fan experience. So there's no telling who you're going to run into at these tailgates. So if $50 to get a tailgate ticket to possibly meet future greats, former greats, and current greats, I don't know where else you can go get that at. I've never been there, and if y'all haven't told me yet, shame on y'all because I should know where this is at. But also, I want y'all to remember this. First off, we're podcasters. We cover media of Florida State. Secondly, we are fans. First and foremost, we're true Noles. Like, you have to know that. We don't just cover this because we're going to make money off of it. We don't just cover this because it's something to do. We cover this because of the passion that we have for this university. We cover this because of the passion that we have for these athletes. And NIL can be looked at however y'all want to look at it. You can look at it like it's going to change college football for the worst. It doesn't. I know it firsthand that it doesn't. It hasn't done anything but help. And what these athletes are getting off of this is allowing them to live better and not live paycheck to paycheck or meal to meal, should I say. They're able to go get what they need, not just what they want, but what they need. So make sure that you really understand what you're saying before you say it, because it really does. It shows a lot of effect. And guys, with social media nowadays, these athletes see everything. They hear everything. So don't be surprised if they don't remember a face, or if they do remember a face, I should say. Because if you said something online that was sideways, don't be surprised if one of them look at you sideways because they recognize you. Because it's kind of unfair to talk smack behind their back for multiple months at a time, and then when you see them, you want an autograph. Don't freak out if they don't do it because they know who you are. There's certain people that are on Twitter that I'm talking about right now. Now one of them went from being super negative to now look at what Mike Norvell's doing. Look at this team. Look at that. I'm not naming him because I'm not giving him clout, but it's ironic to me that people do this. I'm so excited to show up to Tallahassee for the guys. I'm as excited for the tailgate as I am the game, and that's saying something. I really am. I enjoyed myself every time this year so far, even though I walk miles and miles at a time because I'm going back and forth between tailgates. Could not believe that I was asked to sign autographs multiple times at multiple tailgates. Could not believe that people cared. And then people followed us to James's tailgate. People followed us to, I have successfully sponsored, this will be the third one, I think, the third tailgate. And when I say sponsored, I mean James lets the Game Day Vodka sponsor that I have sponsor the tailgate, and then my presence there of being able to bring some of the current athletes. That's all he didn't even ask that of me, but I'm saying that's all that he asked of me. It's not, hey, I need $1,500 or I need you to buy 600 tickets for kids. No, it's what we do, what we're trying to do for each other, and what we're moving forward to do is so much bigger than I think people really understand. And I think within the next month or two, you're going to figure out just how big this is going to be, which I'm extremely excited for that announcement. I can't wait to drop that news, but we're moving in a direction to make sure that Florida State University and the athletes at Florida State University are what capitalize the most off of this. Not us, not ourselves. We want the kids that are there are coming there to capitalize off of it. And we're capitalists. I mean, we keep saying that, and I kind of sound like a bleeding heart because I'm just giving money away or tickets away to everybody else. But when you have it to give, why not give it? What am I going to do with all of it? I can't take it with me if I die. So it is what it is. But James, on the Stadium and Gale show, we gave our score predictions. Mine hasn't changed. My score prediction for the Florida game is Florida State 38 and Florida 27.
Yeah, I still feel the same way, 35-24. I think, it's going to be a game until about beginning of that fourth quarter. Then it's really just us playing keep away. I think what we've been able to do with time of possession is incredible. And I still look at quality opponent or common opponent. And I look at what we were able to do at the beginning of the season with injury. So we're healthy. We're back as healthy as we were for the most part than as we were in the beginning of the season. And what we were able to do against a healthy LSU is on par with what Florida looks like. Like, obviously LSU is better than Florida, but at their best, this is what they are. When you look at what Daniels is able to do, although not as big as Anthony Richardson, but I think he's more shifty and harder to hit. Anthony's just a bigger load. And that's kind of just why I look at it like that. So I do think that they will get theirs as what happens in rivalry games. But I do believe that we're just overall top to bottom in a better position, having gone through a lot of the growing pains that Florida's already going through. So we're trying to get to know a new coaching staff, not trusting those guys. Those guys wanting to bring in their people. So like what we've seen at Florida and Miami, like we kind of already saw that during COVID. We were actually maybe protected a little bit more because COVID year kind of opened up a lot of doors that might be able to get the team to where he needs to be able to get it to. So that's really why I believe it. I think we handle adversity a little bit better as well.
Well, everybody, we've got about 7.5 minutes left. Y'all know where to follow Big James. You follow me at Big Game James _36 on Twitter. You find him as James Anthony on Facebook. James Anthony Coleman, excuse me. I didn't finish his last name. Y'all should know who he is, so don't hate on me because I messed that up. Follow James at all of those places. Make sure that you go get your tailgate tickets as soon as tomorrow. I prefer you get them tonight, but if you can get them tomorrow, make sure that tomorrow you get them. The tailgate link is going to be in this video in the description. It will also be shared multiple times on SPEARATICS, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. It will be all over the place, as it has been. And let's go ahead and fill up Lot 19 at the top. We got the whole top of Lot 19's garage, guys. It's huge, and I want to fill it up, and I think we can. Look, James and I have James, myself, and somebody I cannot believe I have not spoke about in this, but I'm running out of time. But CJ is going to be here from Roll Up. I don't know if y'all follow him or watch him, but CJ does an excellent job. Here in the future, we'll be doing more with them and him very soon. Y'all will see us all at the tailgate. Make sure you get there. So many content creators are going to be there on top of so many former current athletes. It's absolutely insane what's going to be there. James, I'm going to let you fall off, and I'm going to finish with the announcements. Call you here in a little while.
All right, bro.
Everyone, I wholeheartedly love all of the comments. I love that y'all are supporting what James and I are doing, what we stand for as far as Florida State goes, what we stand for as far as the athletes go. I could not tell you enough how much y'all support matters to all of us, and what y'all are able to do with us changes these athletes' lives. You have no earthly idea how much it changes. That's what I want to bring to you. for you to see with video content how you change these athletes' lives. And I will bring that to you soon. It will happen. SPEARATICS is on. If there is a faster growing media company for Florida State, I don't know which one it is. And I'm not trying to talk us up. I'm just telling you the truth. Where SPEARATICS has gone in a short 2 years and where it's going is absolutely amazing, and is all because of the fans that support it. I love the fact that Big Game James loves what SPEARATICS stands for. He asked me to come on, and for a former athlete to ask me to be on my show constantly as a co-host is mind-blowing. I've had Freddie Stevenson tell me how great SPEARATICS is and what SPEARATICS does. I've had Marvin tell me that it was absolutely amazing what we were doing at SPEARATICS. I've had Leroy Smith tell me how great we are doing over here. Charlie Ward has written to me about how great this fan base is and how SPEARATICS has set a standard for a Florida State fan base. For us to stand behind what Bobby taught each and every one of the athletes and taught each and every one of the people that he came in contact with, and ultimately that he taught all 80,000 that came to those stadiums multiple times how to be a class act, how to be a true Nole. And for us to be holding that standard, for us to be living that standard as a SPEARATICS group, as the SPEARATICS fans. If you're a SPEARATICS fan, you're a Florida State fan. When you see SPEARATICS, I want you to see Florida State. When you see Florida State, I want you to see SPEARATICS. That's what this means to me. It's just a name that I want you to remember, and I want you to know stands side to side and in front of, in a lot of cases, of Florida State University, because of how much I love this university, how much I love the athletes that are here, how much I care for the coaching staff that is here and what they do, how much I care for the administration and what they do for all of us and all of these athletes. It is not a short ask of what this university does for all of us as fans and what we do in return for the university. That's what it's supposed to be about. A fan and its university is nothing but a marriage. It's a give and take relationship. And we're doing a great job right now. They give, we take, then we give and they take. That's how it's supposed to be. Y'all are doing a phenomenal job. Love each and every one of you. I appreciate all of the comments. Make sure that you drop your score predictions in this video, because if you get the score prediction exactly right, you will win some Florida State memorabilia and also some signed stuff from all of us at SPEARATICS, former players, etc. So make sure you drop your score predictions. I'll go back and look at them. If you were correct, then you will receive it. And if someone has the same score prediction, you will not both receive it, but the first one that put it up. Love each and every one of you. Hope that you get to come to the game. And if you are traveling, have safe travels. And don't forget that Thursday, I hope each and every one of you have a wonderful and happy Thanksgiving. I'm your host at SPEARATICS, Chris Frazier. Please come back and watch us again tomorrow at 7:30. Y'all have a good one, and go Noles.